NA team, you need to be able to find a couple picks here or there because you do have the Renekton, you do have the Nautilus who need or really want to get snowballed a lot earlier than on the flip side. And especially with the Graves, we talk about jungle Graves being not able to get as much gold. Kongria definitely more of a carry player, but at the same time, we haven't seen this style of Kongria in a while where he's going to have to be a major damage threat.
It's definitely true, I think he did a very good job on the Viego yesterday, but the Graves certainly a less common pick for him. We're going to be taking a look at the runes across the board here. Everything looking pretty standard. We do have Fleet Footwork coming out from Little V, just to make sure he can survive that Xayah lane. And, listening to you talk about the compositions, it does sound like to me that you're basically saying Kongria needs to get ahead, and he needs to stay ahead, because you typically don't see Graves dominating if they're just even against a comp like PSG.
Yeah, I think the Graves pick really just came out as a punish pick against the Volibear. Of course, Graves will be able to heavily outfarm the Volibear, but at the same time, Volibear has a lot of ganking potential, especially with how consistent his lanes are across the board, right? He can gank top lane. If he gets one kill onto this Renekton, like the GP just hard wins this matchup, and Enzo whiffing on the hook, at least he doesn't get a hard punish. But when you look at this bot lane as well, they have so much CC potential in combination to the CC coming out from the Volibear. So I think that's going to be an early target for Juhan, just try and attack that bot side, and which remains consistent with their identity throughout the split so far.
You definitely expect this bot side to just win out in the 2v2 here. The Xayah can push the Felios in, and you also do have the more lane-centric rune coming in from Kaiwing here, so we'll see if that becomes a focus. But for now, Kongria is going to be the one jungler that does arrive on the scene first here, and we do have Juhan heading towards the top side. Meanwhile, in the mid, we did see some very good trading from Uniboy, hitting that level 2 early, pushing base HP bar down. So we'll see how the ganks work for each side here. PSG doing a very good job at making sure they keep tabs onto Kongria, making sure they can avoid the gank. And meanwhile, on the top side, this is the matchup we were all very worried about. Hanabi has been the most dominant top laner this entire season. Yes, he was weak side in the past, but this split, he is the... I have to say, he's the alpha dog of the top lane here. Dodging away from the Q, very nicely done. And we do have the gank incoming. Let's see if Driver walks forward into this one. He's level 3. He might be looking for the trade. He walks up to Hanabi, and Juhan shows his face. They will not overchase, but they get the flash.
An early flash burn definitely could set up for a dive attempt right here. They have the HP advantage, double buffs onto Juhan, so packing more than enough damage. But I think they're just going to be very comfortable in just crashing that wave here. And yeah, it doesn't look like Juhan is that interested in making a dive happen. They still have an opportunity with the second wave coming in, but I think it should just be Krugs coming in, unless if we get one more good trade coming in from Hanabi. But yeah, as it stands, not enough of a wave to actually reinforce this, but it's still such a massive win. Getting a good back timing for Hanabi, especially on this GP, it's a lot about getting a good first buy. And now, like, if you're Renekton, a lot of your fight potential comes from your first item or just fighting without items. So he's going to be set a little bit behind here.
Yeah, dropping a lot of HP, and also he does have to consider the threat of just getting outright killed by Hanabi through some of these harasses here. So
yeah, now
definitely a
we
strong
got the
win.
Sheen poke too.
Oof. That's going to be pretty rough. Let's see. Little V does get caught out here. Has to burn his flash instantly. Big win for PSG, and this is even before the serrated dirt comes in. PSG are going to full push this one, and things are getting a little bit hairy into this lane. We do have Juhan on the bottom side of the map, and Kongria taking a direct route. He's going to run right into Bay. Let's see if he gets any damage off here. Just clearing out the ward. He will get it before Bay. And Bay does not go back just yet to clear it out. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. But I would say not a great start coming in for Lil V at the start of this game, already having the burn flash.
The trap is there. Kaiwing walks forward. The grabbed him already used. He has to burn his cleanse. Ignite goes down, but Enzo does a good job on sticking towards Unified. So the kill will not be gotten here. Heal used by Unified, and surprisingly enough, J-Team actually walk out of that a lot better than I assumed it would go.
Yeah, but now Lil V is actually tempted to stay, knowing that he has this jungler here. And I would have guessed that because Juhan is looking to recall, that they'll just crash the wave and go ahead and back off. But as things stand, not a lot happening, but we can see up in that top side, it's not a matchup anymore. It's not a matchup anymore, Clement. This is just a outright just Giga Gap.
And I will say that yesterday when Driver played the Renekton, he was one item Gourd Drinker into directly going for tank items. So he's very comfortable in playing this sort of, well, I'm just equalizing out the top side. If I don't lose my lane too hard, I consider it a win. That's the mentality I'm getting from Driver, to be honest. It's a little bit unfortunate to kind of play on such a back foot this late into the postseason, but it definitely has worked out for them. They're still here over DCG, despite Leaky basically winning every single matchup. So we'll see if it works out for them again. This time around, though, Juhan is going to come in. Renekton is pretty difficult to gank with that dominance up, but he's in a very bad spot. Hanabi going to chase him down. Let's see if the kill goes over. Nope, Juhan going to take that one for himself, and that's first blood to PSG.
Yeah, regardless of who gets that kill at the end, this is a Renekton without teleports. So he's going to have to walk the long way back to his tower to get back that farm. And that means it's a 20 CS lead for a Gangplank that's going to keep scaling up. Juhan's level 6 now. So if he face checks...
Ooh.
Oh my god, he gets the steal. That denies Kongyue level 6 as well. So... level 6 hit by the Volibear. A lot of extra power on the side of PSG at the moment.
Yeah, we are going to take a look at the bot lane where a little bit of scuffle happening. But I think you called it right there. Top side firmly in the hands of PSG at this point. The Gangplank has so many ways to play this game. You know, he's just taking a very early back to walk back into lane to continue to punish the wave here. And we do see Driver, you know, he has to keep eyes over that Herald. Sure, you can lose your lane, but if you give out Herald, that's when the snowball really starts to begin here. In the bottom side, we do have the traditional strong spot for Unified. He does have his serrated dirt and very close to level 6. And so far, hasn't been that lucky with his depth, with his dredge lines. And we'll find out how that level 6 trade goes. But looks like PSG are trying to collapse even further onto this jungle with the lead that they have from Juhan. Let's see if they go in, and if we get some scuffles, J-Team able to take away all of their own camps at the very least.
Yeah, and it will be Juhan actually starting out this dragon, knowing that he has bot lane priority. Currently, Orianna is shoved in, or shoving the wave in, so it's really just great wave states all around in the mid-bot areas, and that's allowed Juhan secure this first dragon. So really nicely done coming in from PSG. They went onto Twitter, saw what you had to say about the CFO matchup, and said, all right, let's play around this Hanabi Juhan combination. And so far, it's paid big dividends here in this first game.
And if we take a look at the top lane here, Hanabi actually has a chance to just straight up freeze the wave. Driver taken to below 400 HP. He does have the dominance, but that's not the position you want to be in against one of Hanabi's best champions in the GP. Kongyue will get spotted here, but it's just kind of passing through. Let's see if J-Team fully commit. They do actually bring the bot lane to the fun. So PSG a little bit late on the rotation regarding their top laner and their AD carry, but they could definitely still try to force their way in. We do have the teleport from Bay. Cast Storm used already. J-Team are hard committed to just taking this one before PSG has a say. Driver going in, a massive use of the Moonlight Vigil. Cannon Barrage might kill Driver, but he's able to flash away, and the Herald gets taken for Kongyue. And so it looks like he's probably going to need to flash that one. Indeed, he does. At the end of the day, lots of Summoners burn. J-Team come out with the objective.
J-Team come out with the objective, but honestly, I think PSG are pretty content with the result of it. If you look at the Summoners burn, they burned the flash onto Driver, and they burned the flash onto Nautilus, and they didn't. They only burned their Leona flash. So coming out on the flash department, +1, and then it's really about trying to figure out how you utilize this Rift Herald, right? Do you try and throw more gold into this Phelios? Lil V hasn't exactly performed well, so I'm not sure if getting more gold into him is going to pay off. But then you look at your other lanes. You've got a Victor, okay, well, he isn't going to use this gold immediately, even if you get the extra gold investment. And this Renekton, I mean, there's no way to dig this Renekton out of the hole. He's down at the bottom of the sea. So even if you toss in 160 gold, there's no return on this man.
And I have to point out, J-Team seems like they made a wrong rotation here, as Driver has to walk all the way back into top lane. We do have a scuffle here. I don't think it's going to amount to much. Juhan does take the worst side of the trade as we're about to head into the second Drake. But I just wanted to point out that after that lane allocation, Driver actually down 40 CS. Unified, though, does get caught out by another champion that's in the bottom of the sea. And Enzo proves that, hey, you might be down, but you're not out.
Oh man, Unified just makes a massive blunder. Just walking over into that, towards that bush, and ended up forfeiting his life. Big mistake, big pathing error, and now J-Team, they will throw down the Rift Herald, being able to get some plates onto this Phelios and onto Kongyue, of course, as Kongyue is going to be a big focal point of this J-Team composition. They need him to get a lot of gold because, again, as we mentioned, when it comes to Grave, he's a pretty resource-heavy champion, and that's why we've seen him more so up in the top side rather than the jungle.
You know, if you're on a lethality build, you got to get things done early. Uniboy going to get a free roam into the top lane, but gets spotted out in the meantime as well. It's a little bit unusual to see his build, and I do want to talk about this, but he does have the Leandri's Anguish done before the Luden's Tempest right here. So, you know, what do you make of this item choice against PSG?
I think it's really geared towards playing front to back, right? Because you do have to deal with the Volibear, you have to deal with the Leona, and the extra cooldown will allow you to also kite things out, getting the extra Q cooldown. And now PSG setting up to zone Driver off, not necessarily set up for the dive, but just continue to zone him off of these minions. Look at the lead. It's a completed Triforce for this GP, and he is, let's see here, almost 2,000 gold ahead, Clement. This is,
I'm getting deja vu.
this is like the distance between the sun and the earth. That's the gap right now. It's a lot.
Leaky was like the moon, and then you go further away, and Hanabi is just smiling down from the molten core of the sun.
It's bad. It is bad. This Renekton is, I mean, might as well just build the Even Shroud at this point, because you've got two supports for the side of JT.
Yeah, we have to say this has been happening to Driver pretty commonly in the top side, and how do you think this kind of impacts the game, though? Like, can JT even send anyone at GP? Oh, but Enzo's going to try this one again, but this time PSG are sending a lot more help. Little V is going to burn his cleanse. Ooh, Juan about to die, but Driver comes out from the back, isn't able to find the stun, and he just falls before he can do anything. He's so behind the curve. Now Bay looking for a little bit more up onto the ramp. Unify going to get his say as well. PSG now with the dominating lead over onto the Ocean Drake. Let's see if they decide to start this one. They will go for the objective with a full HP Hanabi.
Yeah, and Juhan also has the smite advantage, right? So they might not know it, but it was just going to be really hard for J-Team to get into the Dragon area from red side, and also they have to steal it away because they were missing the flash. But we get to see the replay, and J-Team, they have to burn a lot of resources just to get out of it. And by the time Driver arrives, everyone is already gone, so there's no way for him to get anything done in that fight. And as you can see, like, he doesn't have real items. He's got a whip, but the only thing he's whipping is himself.
Well, he will make a nice pair of Crocs. I'm not sure Driver wanted to go in onto that one. Enzo was definitely hightailing it out of that fight. He was just like, my job is done here, and he just exited from the right side.
It's a 2-level lead, top side.
Oh boy, the bleed out here is so real for J-Team. Like, how did they salvage this situation? Like, I assume they have to kill Hanabi at this point.
Yeah, but the issue is it's going to take a lot of people to kill him right now. And now PSG, of course, with this big topside advantage, will be able to turn around and look for this second Herald. I think, ironically enough, I think this second Herald's going to be able to have more value than the first Herald. Usually we don't talk about it as having more value, but with the current state of the map, you've got a 2,000 gold lead for the side of PSG. You can heavily snowball this map state with the second Herald, whereas for the side of J-Team, it's about, well, maybe we can salvage some of this gold gap with this first Herald, but they also had to expend a lot of resources just to get that. So now it will be mid priority. Being able to crack open this mid tower is really important against the Victor, who has so much wave clear. And at the very least, J-Team will be able to get solo plate gold, or not solo plate gold, but solo turret gold into the Aphelios. But Aphelios, it's so hard to play the game as the Aphelios against GP Alt, Oriana Ball, Xayah Feathers. Like, how does he find value? And I'm really struggling to see the priority set by a lot of our teams on this Aphelios pick as of late.
Yeah, I have to hard agree with you. This Aphelios is going into Bloodthirster's second item, so he's not even going to pack that much damage in the upcoming fights. He's much more about survivability. I just don't see him having an impact until much later into the game with this one. So I guess for J-Team, their only real hope is going to be Uniboy. He's the only one that's, still doing fine in his own lane. Let's see if he can make anything happen.
Yep, and I mean, we're kind of going back into the original storylines for these teams that we set up, right? For the side of PSG, it's about the 5v5, slowing things down in the mid game just to make sure you get the best 5v5 power as possible. But and for J-Team, it's about this mid jungle a little bit too much so in this first game. But you have a 200 CS Victor, it's always possible that you can find that fight. Uniboy is pretty much exclusively the win condition at this moment, and maybe Konger are able to do some chip damage with this lethality build to get them low enough for this Victor to clean up.
Hanabi is 3,200 gold over his opponent. We're not even at 20 minutes into the game. Things are about to get a lot worse here. And PSG are sending the full squad against Driver. They get the slow down, the stun flash in from Kaiwing. They want Driver for a purse right here. And then Navi even picks up the kill. What is the answer going to be from J-Team? They're heading towards the second tier 2 tower.
It's a bit of a base race.
Yeah, J-Team could potentially come up with more here as they're working their way on both towers at the same time. But the mid lane runs out, and it looks like PSG will take 2 for 1 in this one.
Going to get that inhib tower up in the top side. Maybe they get this inhib as well. It is only 19.5 minutes, so having super spawn up in that top side might not be the best option, but overall I think they do come out a little bit ahead on the trade. Yes, the trade is somewhat even. It is just going to be a +1 kill for PSG, but when you look at where the lanes are set up, you have the super long lane up in the top side, which sets PSG up for Baron taking. Whereas on the flip side, J Team, yes, they get a little bit better setup for Dragon, but PSG already have 2 dragons to their name. J Team aren't threatening the Dragon Soul, so overall, PSG much better map state for them.
PSG actually traded 3 towers for 1 in that entire instance here. Juhan is standing on the ward. We are getting the fight starting here. Kaiwing takes a bunch of damage, so some small upside here for J Team. They do make it underneath the ramp, and they also get the scuttle. So not all is lost here for J Team. They're going to start the Drake here, pull it back. Bay is still a ways away from this one. Let's see how J Team want to play this one out. Kaiwing gets spotted here. Uniboy does find him out, so the flank is at least diffused, but PSG are starting to walk forward. Super tense moment. If J Team fall down here, this just might be the game. It's very hard to come back from this spot. Let's see if Hanabi can find it. Oh, Juhan still manages to get the Drake regardless. They throw a lot of damage on Uniboy, and PSG playing so cleanly. They don't overchase here. They just turn back with the objective taken.
Yeah, and the reason why is because they don't have the GP ultimate, so they would have loved to turn for the fight, but missing that other big zone control tool, they decide to just grab the dragon, which is, I mean, the key point of what they wanted, and then they go ahead and leave. So J Team, with all the investment into getting that extra priority because they crashed they were able to destroy the 2 additional towers in that bot side, it doesn't end up resulting in anything. They still end up losing out on that dragon, and PSG now they just have an overwhelming advantage because now with Baron on the table, the side of J Team, they have to deal with the fact that they don't have 2 towers up in that, or 3 towers up in the top side. Hanabi, he'll get extra damage down on this bot tower. He should be able to break that tower. And look, he has the Triforce completed, the Collector completed, and now he's looking, what I would imagine, for that Mortal Reminder. So much extra item power currently on Hanabi that it's a long ways for J Team to get back in here.
Yeah, I will say, though, the entire gold lead is just concentrated on Hanabi alone. If you looked at the gold graph, Uniboy and Little V are still ahead in their respective positions. So, to simplify it, all J Team needs to do is kill Hanabi first. A little bit easier said than done, as it's Kongya being caught out right here. Cannon Barrage does go down. A little bit of a waste here, and Kongya even walks forward to taunt. Chaos Storm also burned here by Uniboy, but the control over Baron firmly still in the hands of PSG.
Yeah, they do have to expend a big ticket ultimate to end that scuffle, though, with the Cannon Barrage being used. And given that Uniboy has gone for the Leandries, he is going to have his ultimate a lot faster over that Cannon Barrage. So overall, a good result for the side of J Team. And for PSG, it might be just a bit of a stall out until we get to that next dragon. And when, of course, that will be Soul on the table. The extra slow resistance and the extra move speed is going to help them in just trying to push through things like the graph field coming in from the Victor. Also helps them get past the slow coming in from the Nautilus. But overall, because of how much engaged they have, I think it's a great soul for them in this instance.
Yeah, PSG still looking forward to that one. It would make Juhan's engage a lot easier. Same thing for Kaiwing down there. So I fully expect them to not want to give this one up and, you know, just take both objectives on the map with the Baron being there at the same time. We've got a couple glimpses of the Hanabi watch so far. Just a small update. He's 3 completed items versus 1. So I think the fight just all revolves around him. If J Team don't kill him right off the bat with some sort of burst, I think he's just going to roll in and just execute them all with the parlay. He is a very good master of negotiations for a pirate right there. And J Team have to take that handshake first. So we'll see how they play this one out. But so far, slow moving for PSG. J Team, as you said, I feel like they have to give up the Cloud Drake. I feel like, okay, they're probably at peace with that idea by this point. So my question for you would be, you know, what's kind of the end game for J Team? How long do they need to stall out to before they can really contest?
Before we get to that, Hanabi has a 5k gold lead on Driver. I don't know if Driver's going to be able to finish his second item before this game ends.
From Driver?
He's got a mosh pit of items. He has a Warden's Mail, but there's no crit coming in besides from the GP. So if you spec into Randuin's, it's not the best value. Of course, you get raw stats, and the raw stats are okay. But when it comes to win conditions for J Team, again, you have pretty much double support with 3 carries. It's really, really hard to find frontline because you don't have a real frontline champion, and PSG have just corralled them.
Oh, Uniboy gonna get tagged by the slow, has to
Uniboy
drop
dead.
into stasis instantly. Kylie's still incredibly healthy. Uniboy pops a Feather Storm. Now Uniboy is down, and they get a 2-man fight onto both the Nautilus and Kongyue here. Driver trying really hard to keep the choke in their hands, but at the end, they lose 2 members. They get nothing back, and PSG are coming to collect their Cloud Soul.
Yeah, Hanabi, though, perhaps out of position, and they need to all in for this pick.
Oh, Hanabi gonna flash away. He has a
Teleport
spin.
coming in. That's me! Oh my lord!
He turns back for more! That's the power of a 5,000 gold lead, and PSG are not only gonna get the Soul, they're gonna get the Baron right after.
Oh my lord, Clement. That is... Ooh, that is some, a mature rated content right there. We're gonna have to up, the age restriction on our stream, but replay comes in. It's really just well played coming in from PSG. Once you get Uniboy and Lil V stuck in that particular choke point, one or both of these carries are just dead. Uniboy ends up flashing downwards, which is an interesting choice, but he wants to play around this Graves pick. That's really the only damage threat on his team that can help him in that fight. So he tries to play around it. Unfortunately, it's not the play. He ends up falling. That's, I would say, 80% of your viable damage gone. And then we get to see the replay on Hanabi just throwing a clinic. I mean, they need
it's
this
round
kill.
2.
They need this kill.
It's the Navi games. Let's go.
Surely.
Oh, it's actually 4 versus 1.
Surely
5 versus 1. There's no way he gets
out. But now
right?
the rest of the squad, do they continue to take this fight? This might be a little bit hard for PSG, but they do have the positional advantage.
They're going in for more here. We see the 2-man shockwave.
Uniboy's dead.
Uniboy, the main damage dealer, already down. Renekton's going to follow. J-Team, they take down the raid boss, but the rest of the minions are still here. PSG are taking a lot of damage here, and Little V is still very healthy.
Unify.
He takes one down, he flashes forward, but Featherstorm is still there. The question now is, can PSG actually escape here with the Cloud Soul? It looks like it will be an easy mission.
I mean, they should have just looked to push the wave up instead of trying to re-engage in that instance. So a little bit curious why they tried to push for more. But as it still stands, like J-Team, honestly, that's such a massive win for them. You know, I would assume coming into that, they were probably around 10k down. You get the 1k shutdown gold onto the GP. You get a second kill onto Juhan, but really the objective here, kill Hanabi. Doesn't matter what it costs, make sure you collect that gold bounty, and they were able to do that. Now we get to see the replay. I'm interested in seeing who gets the shutdown. It actually goes on to Ophelia, so their secondary win condition might be online, but you can see for PSG, as long as you kill the Uniboy, that's a lot of their range gone, because even Lil V, as fed as he is on this Aphelios, as strong as he is, unless if they run into him, it's very hard for them to for him to actually get value out of the Aphelios pick. But they did run into him at the end.
PSG decide that they're not going to go for the 4-1 anymore. They're going to brute force this one. They move in with Hanabi. During that replay, you could actually tell Hanabi wanted the team to continue to push because he was actually mad question marking the mid lane. So I feel like PSG are shifting to a less risky tactic right here. They definitely have the gold lead to just bludgeon J-Team to death.
Yes.
And J-Team have to give it up. They don't even try to clear the wave in melee. The Baron buff is about to expire here, so J-Team down 1 inhibitor at this juncture. I think they can feel alright with this one, but 2 inhibitors would be pushing it. So J-Team now walking up to defend. Driver taking a lot of damage. We see the Ori Ball zone out. Aphelios gets stunned down. They do get good damage on Kaiwing, and the fight is on. Ento gets a point-blank ultimate, but only onto the support here. He does manage to stay alive, but PSG are still so damn healthy here. They won't chance for more, though, because Little V is holding down the fort.
Yeah, now, I mean, Hanabi has the Infinity Edge with the 60% crits already, so these barrel chains are going to slap. Because you're sitting on now 90, I believe 95% crit chance, so pretty much every single time it's going to crit, except for the rare 5% chance. And Uniboy, he is on 3 items along with Lil V, so item-wise, they are sort of online, at least keeping pace with their counterparts. So this is probably the best opportunity for J-Team to find that fight. It's just a matter of being able to actually get in onto the fight, because again, their main engage tools is basically Enzo finding a hook with this Nautilus, or Driver somehow managing to flash in, get a double dash, and stun onto a key target. But otherwise, these two essentially support champions, they aren't going to last long in these fights.
Hey, don't say that about Driver. He can pop his Randuins and then slice and dice away. So he can buy time. That's about the best that I can come up with.
All right, let's see how much time you can buy.
I'm counting down the seconds right here. Hey, you know, he got...
He did it.
Yeah, he didn't even get an ultimate right there and burned a flash. So, I mean, yeah, I have to concur with you. It's really hard for J-Team. I have all my eyes on Little V. I think he has to be the win con. If they stall out until his Infinity Edge, then maybe you will find a massive Moonlight Vigil to end the game with collateral damage. That's the best case scenario I have in mind. But PSG are not going to give them that time. They know the Infinity Edge is about to come up. They're going to straight up walk into this Elder Dragon. I will say I have seen crazier things happen with this Elder, but Kongre is going to get instantly deleted. Goodbye, Kongre. Where did you go? The Leona ultimate didn't even land before Graves was just dead. And now Kaiwing does stall a little bit more. He does fall down, but Elder Dragon goes to PSG. And this is Hanabi chasing people down. Little V gets to outplay 2 barrels, keeps himself alive, but can he run forever? Bay is trying to close up on the backside, and Juan has to run away.
Just stalling.
But look, they're just going to end the game here. Hanabi going for the tower. 1 Nexus tower down. They stop the teleports anyway. Aphelios is dead, and Hanabi will win the game basically by himself. Welcome to 2022, where Hanabi not only plays weak side, but he also completely craps on the lane. Woo. Flash Wolf insignia shown already. Hanabi just making this look easy.
This game wasn't even close. I feel like J-Team haven't even entered the lobby. This is looking very similar to the CFO series, where J-Team just took the entire 3-game series on break.
You were scaring me there a little, because PSG did win the first game and then go on to lose the next 3, so...
That is true, but it wasn't in